Here, our goal is to simplify completely. Notice that we have this fraction divided by this fraction. And so we have this here, this fraction divided by this fraction. Now, whenever we're dividing two fractions, well, what is the rule? Well, we can use this acronym, which says KSF, right? That's the acronym that we could use, KSF. Now, K means keep, all right? So when we're dividing two fractions, we're going to keep the first fraction untouched, right? We keep it untouched. It remains the same. So we keep the first fraction. Now, the sign, the S stands for switch. So we switch the sign. We switch the sign from a division sign to a multiplication sign. And then the F stands for flip, which means that we flip this fraction. The numerator becomes the denominator, and the denominator becomes the numerator. So KSF, keep the first fraction, switch the division sign to a multiplication sign, and flip this particular fraction. And so that's what we do, right? So let me erase our link. We keep the first fraction untouched. We take the division sign and we change it into a multiplication sign, and we switch and we flip this particular fraction, putting the denominator on top as the numerator and the numerator at the bottom as the denominator. Next, we are going to factorize this particular expression. So we have x squared minus 5x plus 6. We're going to factorize this expression. And we're going to ask ourselves, okay, notice that we have -5 here. So we have -5 here. And we have +6 here. So we put +6 right here. And so we ask ourselves, what two numbers that we can use that when we add them, we get -5, and when we multiply them, we get +6. Again, with two numbers, when we add them, we get -5, and when we multiply them, we get +6. Now, two numbers that we will use is -2 and -3, because -2 plus -3 is -5, and -2 times -3 is a +6, because negative and a negative gives us a positive. And so that means that we could use -2 and -3. And so we have this particular expression and we want to factorize it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take -5 and split it into two parts. So -5 can be expressed as -2x minus 3x. And so we took -5x and we expressed it as -2x and -3x, because -5x can be expressed as -2x and -3x, because -2x and -3x, if you combine them, you get -5x. And so that makes this expression equal to this expression. Okay, now we can factor by grouping. So notice that we're going to factor out this particular expression. We're going to factor out this particular expression now. So notice that x is a common factor in both of these terms. X is present in this term and x is present in this term. So we're going to factor out x. And it makes sense because if we say x times x, this becomes x squared, and x times -2 is -2x, okay? So this expression is good. So we just factored this expression. Now here, we're going to factor out -3, because -3 times x is -3x, and -3 times -2 is going to be +6. And so we successfully factored this expression as well. Notice that x minus 2 is a common factor in both of these terms. So this has x minus 2, and this term has x minus 2. So we're going to factor out x minus 2. And if we factor out x minus 2, what we have left is x minus 3. And so we have x minus 2 multiplied by x minus 3. And this is the factored form of this particular expression. So instead of writing x squared minus 5x plus 6, we write its factored form, which is x minus 2 times x minus 3. And so we have, and what we do to the top, this numerator, we factor this as well, because 2 is a factor in 2x, and 2 is also a factor of 6. And so we factor out this 2, and so we have 2 times x, which gives us 2x, We have 2 times -3, which gives us 6. And so this right here is the factored form of this numerator here. We keep x minus 2, and we keep it over 1. And so now what we can do is we can cancel. Notice that we have x minus 2 here, and we have x minus 2 here, so we cancel out those two terms. And we have x minus 3 at the top and x minus 3 at the bottom, so we cancel out those two terms. And so what do we have left? Well, we have 2 over 1, so 2 over 1 multiplied by 1 over 1, and so that's what we have left, 2 over 1 multiplied by 1 over 1. 2 times 1 is simply 2, and 1 times 1 is 1. So 2 over 1 is equal to 2, and that's our answer to this particular question.